There's something that only exists in the corner of your eye. I made the mistake of chasing it. I stayed absolutely silent and covered my lantern with a blanket, not wanting to extinguish the light completely. The shadows moved across the tent in a way that made me feel sick to my stomach. A long fingernail pierced the nylon walls of the tent as he began entering my tent. Seeing the danger I was in, I quietly moved for my machete. The handle felt cold and heavy. Mustering up my courage, I swiped at the finger that was entering the tent. The finger and shadows vanished. I thought I had lost my mind, until out of the corner of my eye, a long, skinny gray arm reached towards my shoulder. I screamed and dashed out of the entrance to the tent the thing had made. As I was running, I kept seeing him from the corner of my eye. Dangling there, strung up by vines and ropes horribly tangled up. I could not make out the expression he was making, but I could swear to this day it was one of sick enjoyment. As I ran, the thick underbrush cut and blistered my bare feet. I kept thinking I just have to make it to the ranger station, but then, as all people do, I made a mistake. My foot caught on a branch and I went tumbling to the ground. Horrible laughter and whispers echoed behind me until my senses failed me, as though my body was preparing me for death. When I finally came to, I found I was at the ranger outpost. I awoke and screamed as the two men at the outpost held me down. After calming me and getting me some tea, I explained what had happened to me. I half expected them to laugh. Instead, the older ranger just rubbed his face and muttered, "The corner man." The younger one wouldn't meet my eyes. They told me flat out, ignore him, never look at him, never hunt for him. He only exists in the edge of things. The second you give him power by acknowledging him, he manifests and attempts to take you. That should have been enough. But here's the truth. I'm a coward about people, but I'm arrogant with everything else. Being told not to look, not to go back was like dangling a match over gasoline. So, a year later, I went back into the moss-soaked dark, and I tried. I lifted my camera whenever the air shifted, shooting blind into my periphery. The photos changed. The blur wasn't faint anymore. It was burning, like a rip of white fire across the image, wider each time. My camera began to choke on it. One night, it gave up completely. Every shot, no matter where I aimed, was just blank, merciless white. Like he'd poured himself into the sensor until it drowned. That's when he left the forest. Or maybe that's when I brought him home. Now he's not in the trees. He's in the corners of my apartment, sometimes hanging from the curtain rod, sometimes dangling just outside my window, always just out of focus, always pulling at the edges of my vision. And the more I resist turning to face him, the more my right eye clouds with fog. The doctors say my eyes are healthy, that the smudge I describe is stress, but I know better. It's him. He's eating the piece of me that sees him. Every day the fog grows. Every day I lose more. Soon there won't be any corner left to hide him in. And then, I think he'll finally let me see his face. So if you're ever in some forgotten place and you feel the silence notice you back, don't chase it. Don't test it. If you catch something hanging upside down in the corner of your eye, for the love of God, leave it there. Some things aren't meant to be seen. That's why when I first saw him,